So I realized yesterday, after I brought the trailer out, that we would need to have the wheels working and the bearings available to be able to tow it over to the makerspace where all the welding equipment is for me to weld up the trailer. So today we are going to repack the bearings and also put the light kit on the trailer because it is not roadworthy if it doesn't have that on it, obviously. So we need to get both of those things sorted out. So what I thought we'd do today is we would start with packing the bearings. I'm just going to show you one hub, it's the same process for the other hub. So let me pan down a sec. Okay, so what you see here is this is the intact wheel with the hub on and everything. So I wanted you to see what this looked like. From other video, obviously it's the same. I just took this off the trailer and brought it up here on a table so it's a little easier to work with. And then to get it off of the axle, obviously you need to take the cap off, the dust cap off, and then take the castle nut, unscrew the castle nut, and remove it. And remember, I didn't put the cotter pins in because I knew I was going to have to take these off. And so I thought I would save myself replacing a cotter pin by not putting those in. But obviously, if this is installed properly on the trailer, the cotter pins are already in, so you'd need to take the cotter pin out before taking the castle nut off, because the cotter pin holds the castle nut in place. You'll see that when we reinstall everything. So I'm going to set this to the side. And what we have here is we have our intact piece. So we've got the castle nut. We have the castle nut washer. Then we have the first set of bearings. We have a pile of grease, and then we have the end bearings. All right, let's get some of this grease out of here. I'm going to just put it in here for the time being, but all of this is going to get put into a plastic bag and then set with our hazardous material. Our city has a hazmat collection day, and so we save up all of this kind of stuff for that day, and then they take care of it for us, which is very nice. Also, your local auto parts place may help dispose of this as well. It just depends. Our local places like AutoZone, Advanced Auto Parts, O'Reilly, they all accept oil, but I'm not sure if they actually accept grease or not. So I'm not positive, but that's okay. Okay, so you can see that's in there. Now on the reverse side, this is a rubber gasket that's holding the bearing in here. And so what we need to do is we need to be able to remove that gasket. And if I'm not mistaken, this pushes through from the other side. And we don't want to mess this rubber gasket up, so I'm going to use a piece of wood and try and push the wood through to pop the bearing out on the other side. Okay, so we have a small piece of wood from offcut from another project, and it fits down in there. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to use this to pop the piece out without damaging anything. And you can see the rubber gasket came out, and here's the other bearing. So what we're going to do to clean this up is we're going to use some brake cleaner, and we're going to use a non-reactive container for this so that it collects the brake cleaner. So let me grab that. Okay, so what we have here is we have an aluminum basting pan that I had been using for smoking some butter. It's been used a number of times, so it's good for getting one time more use out of it to do something else. And then we have some brake cleaner here that I purchased when I was doing my brakes. And so we're just going to spray this down and use this to get the grease off of here. Okay, so what we were able to do with that, I'm probably going to have to block the sound because it was so loud, but what we were able to do is essentially blow from the bottom and up the sides of the bearings, get it to pool at the top and clean all of that off, and then blow from the top down and push it out the bearings as well, and then clean it all off. So that got almost all of the blue stuff out. I kept spraying from one angle or another and trying to get it to get more goo, and at one point the goo just completely stopped. So I feel pretty confident that we got all the goo out. All right, so this piece is completely dry. Yeah, this piece is completely dry. These are completely dry. So I think we're ready to repack the bearings. Okay, so this is the inside. That was our inside bearing. And this goes in like that. That is good. Okay. And then that guy just sits like this in here. So that one is seated. This one sits in there like that. And other than that, we're good. So what I think I'm going to do is move the camera around so you can see it on the axle itself and watch how we do that. In the meantime, I'm going to clean out all of this excess blue goo from the bearing cap so that this is clean and ready to go. Okay, so here we are at the axle. So this is the axle we mounted yesterday. You can see it still has the blue goo on it from when we were when we put the wheel on here yesterday. So we're going to clean off that. Doesn't have to be crazy, just get it a little bit cleaned up. And good. All right, good deal. So this is our hub that we just put together. Again, it's not packed or anything. It's just It's just open. So we're going to feed this on like that. We're going to put the front bearing on as well. And then we're going to go ahead and put the washer on. And we're going to put the castle nut on, just loosely, so that we can see what's going on. And now we need to attach the grease gun to the fitting back here and start pumping in grease. And it's going to be a lot of grease. Okay, so this is my grease gun. It's a Harbor Freight lever action grease gun. It's decent. The only issue I have with it is that it seems to leak from this end quite a bit. And so if you've got grease in here, I always get goo coming out the bottom. Not really sure if that's common for all grease guns or that's something unique here. Don't really know. But what I do know is that it tends to be a problem on this. So, oops. All right, so we're on the fitting, and we're just going to pump grease. So let's do this. Let's take this off, and we'll take this guy off. And we can see how much grease we've got going on in there. But you can see that it's starting to fill up with grease in there. So that's great. So it's starting to pack, which is what we want. Put our fitting back on and goo more grease. And now, I don't know if you can see this, but it's starting to get right here at the rim. So we're going to add the bearing in because we want it to, oh, that's not good. I just set this down on the ground down here, which was a bad idea. I can feel grit already in there. So we need to clean that because we don't want grit in our bearings. So we're going to do that real quick. Okay, so we just, I just ran more parts cleaner on the bearing and then blew out the bearing again to dry it off. And so now it's clean and dry. What was great was that there was no blue goo that came out of this, which was nice to see. So we got all the blue goo is out of this bearing, which is great. But there's also no grit in here anymore either, which is what we want to feel. So, all right, so we're going to set this in here. And now, again, I'm going to put the washer on and put the castle nut on. Just finger tight. Because what we want to see is when I pump this, I want to see that the bearing grease is actually coming through and pushing through the bearing itself and out the other side. There we go. Can't really see it very well, but maybe you can. It's starting to gush out right around the other side of the washer. which is what we want to see. So you can see these little tendrils that are starting to form right here, right here, right here, right here. So it's pushing through the bearing. There we go. And now it's coming out really heavily, and you should be able to see that. Yeah. So we are packed full, which is what we want. And so that's where we want to be. That's what we want right there. And what we have now is we have a well-packed wheel. So that feels good. Okay, so now we're going to finish this off. So to finish this off, what we want to do is we want to make this castle nut tight, and then we need to find the hole for the cotter pin and make sure it aligns with the pieces in the castle nut. And I should have looked ahead of time where that hole actually is, but I didn't. So let's see if we can find it with the cotter pin. See if we can feel if there it is. Nice. So the way that you want this to go is you want the long edge of the pin up. So here's the long edge of the pin. See, there's a long and a short edge. We want the long edge of the pin pointing out, and we want the loop of the pin to be aligned with the holes. So some people put it flat, and that actually makes it outside of the castle nut. You want it to be perpendicular, just like that. So it tucks in between the two teeth of the castle nut. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bend this top side out and over the top. So we're going to take the long side and we're going to bend it out and over the top like this. And the short side, I always would bend as well, but apparently, I learned this the other day, you're not supposed to bend it at all. You're actually supposed to cut it off. So that's great because we can do that. So I'm going to just cut that at the end. I've got this beefy set of cutters, and we're just going to snip it off after we bend it out just to get a little better angle on it. All right. And that's that. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on there. We got a rubber mallet. And that, folks, is a fully packed wheel bearing. So the last step is to just add the tire back. And tire goes back on just like a regular car tire. And that is it. We have now repacked the bearings. All right. Well, thanks for watching my video on repacking the bearings on the trailer. I hope you found it informative. Again, I really appreciate you watching my channel and videos. If you have any questions or comments, again, please feel free to post them on the video, and I will do everything in my power to answer everything that I can. And again, we'll have more videos. This is just the start of this build, and I'm very excited. I keep saying we, but it's really just me. But I'm very excited to be doing this series. It's been something that I've been looking at for a long time, looking at building a teardrop camper and going through the experience of it. And so very excited about doing the CLC kit and showing you guys everything along the way. So I hope you're enjoying it. If you like the video, please click like. Go ahead and subscribe if you want to see this content showing up in your feed, and definitely click notify me if you want to be notified whenever new videos come out. Again, I don't know exactly the frequency, but hopefully it's going to be once a week or once every other week, depending on schedules, and it's stuff that you enjoy. So again, any questions, give me a holler. And I'm Jeremy, and I make things. Thank you.